Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial, and we're using Boughs and Blossoms stamp set, cling stamp on red rubber there with some nice images on there. It does come, there is a bundle, so it will come with a punch if you decide to go with the bundle. Buying both products together means you save 10% on the combined price. So just take a look at that. It's a nice useful punch for some foliage bits and pieces, but we're just using the stamp set today to do a sort of a stamped background with that. So this is my sample card, which I have put onto a crumb cake card base there. And I've gone with greens to sort of create like a sort of ombre look, if you like. So the colours there I have used are soft sea foam, mint macaron and soft succulent. So that's the colour combo that we've used on the background there. Brought in some black twine and these lovely mint macaron gems there. Okay, so that's what we've done. Okay, so I always like to show you a different colourway for the design. So we're going to switch out the crumb cake for smoky slate. Okay, so we're keeping the neutral to neutral thing there, and then I've cut two white panels. Now these aren't going to be exactly the same as the ones on the sample card, because these were just bits I pulled out to have a look at how the layout might work. Okay, so for the card we're going to make, I've actually measured these to some of my go-to sizes. So I've gone with 3.5 by 5.25 there, and then I've taken this panel down 1/8 of an inch. So this is 3 3/8 by 5 1/8. Okay, so those are the panels that we're working with today, and it's just going to give you just this tiniest border around the edge, but it does make, I think it makes quite a difference when you're trying to lift something from the card. We have popped it up onto some dimensionals as well, so that's what we're aiming for. So this is the panel we're stamping on, so we'll just pop those to one side, and just to jazz it up a bit, we're going to go purples. And so we've got gorgeous grape, Highland heather and fresh freesia. That's our colour combo that we're going to go with. Alright, so I'm going to stick with the black sentiment and twine and stuff to bring it all together. We're going to do that. I'm going to bring in my pad of small grid paper just to stamp on, so don't worry about all the stuff that's on the background there, just from a previous project. So I like this, it's a nice size, handy to have on your desk when you're doing off the sort of edge stamping, if you like. So we're going to be going across the top there. I'm going to start with the fresh freesia and just putting that on a silicone mat so it doesn't make a noise on the table. Love the silicone mat, it's nice little gadget. It just means it won't, the solid stamps, they sort of suction onto the ink pad, and it sort of makes the ink pad rattle on the desk. So good firm pressure with these nice solid stamps, and I'm just going to pop some in across the top corner here. Just rotate it around a little bit, don't want them all looking exactly the same, and you'll find that they probably fit better in certain orientations as well as you're building up your pattern. I think I might just drop another partial in on the top up there. Okay, so it's all very organic, this sort of style of background, you know, just do as you feel. Okay, fresh freesia. So let's switch now to Highland heather, sort of our middle tone. Same again, light tapping on the ink pad, and we're just going to fill in some gaps here. let's have that one go about there. So I say no right or wrong on this, you just pop them down where they're going to fit best. So there might be bigger gaps or smaller gaps depending on how it all lays out. I think we'll just do those ones for the mid-tone, and then we're going to come across the bottom with our darker ink, which is Gorgeous Grape. This is going to be nice and super quick. So I'm doing sort of matching colour tones, if you like, with the purples. But there's nothing to stop you introducing all sorts of wonderful colourways into your card. Go like create your own sort of rainbow. You don't have to use this stamp, you could use something else. There's a floral in here as well, which could work. And there's very, you know, the catalogue is full of wonderful stamp sets that you could apply this technique to. Okay, something else in the side there, just to cover that up. I think I might just sneak something into this bottom corner so it just sort of looks finished. Okay, so that's our background. Now, on the sample card, hopefully, I'm just keeping the ink pads handy just for a second. You see, there's like a coloured edge here. Okay, now I've actually used all the coloured ink pads. I don't know whether in that corner you can see that'll be the mint macaron and that'll be the soft sea foam. So I've gone round and applied ink that corresponds with the images. Now, I think the best way to do this is to start with the lightest colour. So I'm going to grab my Fresh Freesia, what's this called, a stamp pad, and I'm going to basically dip the side of the cardstock in where those Fresh Freesia images are, and it will just colour the edge of that cardstock, and it will be hard to see until you put it against the background. Okay, so that's the Fresh Freesia portion. So if you went a little bit further than you should have done with the Fresh Freesia, it can be covered up by the next layer of ink, which is the darker colour. So we'll go Highland Heather, which is sort of creeping down here, but we can go over that with the Gorgeous Grape, and then we'll put some down here. Okay, and then lastly Gorgeous Grape, which I'm going to pop in along the bottom there, and just a touch at the bottom there. Okay, so that's going to be very subtle, but like I say, once you put it against a white background, you'll start to see that border come through. Just going to waft that around a little bit to make sure it's all completely dry. I'm just going to add it to the other white layer that we cut with some Stampin' Seal. Okay, which is my preferred adhesive. You use whatever you like to use. So I've missed a few little bits there, still a bit white, but I think it still adds an effect to the card. Okay, so hopefully that's more visible now that I've laid it onto the white layer there, and that was the whole purpose of having that white layer there. It would have disappeared on the grey card base without it. Okay, just helps it to pop up from the base. So we are going to pop it up. So I'm going to stick some dimensionals along the bottom, but we're going to have some twine across there. So we'll put another set in the top half of that card, so we've got nice support, but this space is free for our twine to go round, which we will secure with some lines of Stampin' Seal. Now the twine I'm using is this basic Twine Essentials pack, and you get a whole heap of colours in there. Okay, so we've got black crumb cake, I think it's actually grey granite, basic white and very vanilla twine in there. So we're just going to stick with black though, just because it's quite dramatic. It'll give you a nice contrast on your card, and I always like to go round 3 times with twine. You can cross it over, you can not cross it over, you can space it out a bit, you can do what you need to do with that, and that seal on the back just secures that in place. If we were sticking it flat, the adhesive would sort of hold it down when we were putting the panel onto the card, but because it's been raised up, we don't want that unravelling from behind. Okay, just sort of faffing about with that. Let's get these dimensionals off, and I've cut my nails, which means I can't get those off as easily as I was. It's funny how you get used to, because I broke this nail and I ended up having to cut it, and I don't normally have this issue getting dimensional backs off. Did the sample one okay, but a pokey tool or something will help with that anyway. Just I think the worst thing is the static. There we go. That's those. Let me just get rid of these little bits, otherwise they're going to wander across the desk and get in the way. So we'll put this panel onto our card base. Just get that lined up before you drop it down. So somewhere around there. So we've got a nice deep border of the grey coming round this one, whereas it was a narrower border on the sample card. You take your choice, you can alter your layers to your preference, or you could forgo the whole thing and just do the whole thing on a stamp, just a whole white panel on the front. And then we just want our sentiment. So I've already got a strip that I cut before, which is, well, I'll say it's a strip, it's an offcut, which is just over 1/2 inch, and it'll do. Right, if you would like it more precise, then cut yourself a 1/2 inch strip. And I'm just going to use black memento and the little hello stamp, which I've already lined up on my block. I'm just going to use the grid paper to help me make sure that that's stamp straight, line up the cardstock with a line, line up the block with a line, and in theory, it's a little wonky, you get a nice straight sentiment. Okay, I like to use the tailored tag punch to cut banner ends. Okay, so I'm left-handed, so I'm going to have mine like that, and then slot it in this way. So yours will probably be the other way around if you're right-handed. So I'm just going to press down on there, and that will cut away a nice little fishtail banner there. So that was tailored tag. Okay, really, really nice, versatile stamp, punch even. And then we just want this to come across the twine there. So mini dimensionals are going to be what we need here, or edging strip or something like that. So I'm just going to pop a couple at the top and a couple at the bottom. Because as you can imagine, that's not going to stick very well across that twine. So if you just have the edges exposed like that. Me and my no nails, I can't get those off. There we go. These ones are slightly longer and I can do it with this hand. There we go. A little bit of wet glue will help make sure that that stays in place and secure. So we'll just press that down. So often I will overhang my sentiment into the border, but the twine's doing that for me on this card, so I'm just going to pop it there, and that's going to take a minute just to set and make sure it's attached, but we can do that after. And then the finishing touch is going to be some on the other ones I used the mint macaron because we had them and they were in the colour, but I think what we'll do is, having a rummage round, let's use some iridescent stuff. We've got iridescent rhinestones, but we've also got these, what are these called? Opal rounds. These will do. These will sort of take on some of the colour from the background. And we've got the two sizes, so we can go, a couple of large ones. So I like my my visual triangle. So what I tend to do is do a large, and a small, or a medium, or whatever. It depends on what embellishments you're using and what they come in. And then another one above. That just sort of brings your eye into the sentiments. That's going to take a minute just to make sure that's adhered. If you are wanting something to be held down, a stamp block is perfect because you can just rest it on top and you can leave it to one side and it will keep it flat and apply enough pressure without squashing your bits and pieces. So that's a little little tip there for you. All right, preferably a clean one, she says. Okay, so that's the card finished. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at that. Just very, very simple, quick cards that you can mix the colourways on and go to town with. And as I say, you know, have a play with your borders and how much cardstock you want showing in your background, and then you can make that your own. Thanks for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed that. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.